And Brentford ended their 6-game winless streak with a 2-0 win away at Chelsea. How many points are Chelsea away from the relegation zone, Matt?
They are 10 points currently away from the relegation zone. They've been on 39 points, it seems like, forever. And if I tell you that Brentford won 2-0 by having one shot on target, that might give you a good indication.
Okay.
How
So
the game went.
you were at Stamford Bridge while we were following the action at the Etihad. So how did they get this 2-0 win with one shot on target?
Well, Cesar Azpilicueta scored an own goal in the first half. This was his first appearance since February, so there was a lot of joy amongst Chelsea supporters to see the club legend back, and he got substituted at half-time having scored an own goal, which is, again, nicely indicative of how things have gone so far for Chelsea. Brentford, I don't think they ever got out of third gear in this game. They really didn't need to. They let Chelsea have 72% possession, knowing that they were extremely unlikely to score. Thomas Frank said afterwards he was very surprised by the team that Frank Lampard picked, which kind of aped the one that he'd picked for the second leg against Real Madrid. Big energy was the idea,
right?
But absolutely no goal threat, obviously.
So, Liam Toomey said it was the most attacking bench he'd ever seen.
Yes, and he brought Mikhailo Mudryk and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang off it at half-time. Okay. Didn't do much, if anything, to change the way that the team were playing, just put the two substitutes on and said, you're more attacking players. And to be fair, they were both an improvement on what had gone before them. But it is pretty sad watching Chelsea at the moment. That was what we were kind of saying around the gantry, which was half full with a lot of people watching the City-Arsenal game instead of watching the game that was in front of them. The stadium definitely wasn't full. I was able to head straight here from the Sad Factory in record time because there were no queues for the tube or anything, because everybody had already left. And it was like Charlie Eccleshare said on Monday about Tottenham, an apathy kind of setting in, and we can't be bothered to be frustrated anymore. That feels like the vibe to me at the moment. Whether that is partly because people don't want to boo Frank Lampard, I think that might be a factor. Mm-hmm. But Chelsea are rotten, and they just are desperate for the season to end. And you can see why Mauricio Pochettino is not keen on taking the job before the end of the season, because he doesn't want this stank on him.
Okay, I've been out of the country. Mauricio Pochettino
is close to being appointed as the Chelsea manager.
How close, Matt?
Closer than he was at 7:45 this evening.
So it's all busy because of that result. But this is something that's very much a reality. They're in talks, and it's just the paperwork that's missing.
He's not even using an agent, apparently. He's just representing himself in the negotiations. He probably feels he's got quite a strong hand in those negotiations, I would suggest.
But so it's a question of when he's going to take over, and you're suggesting that might be before the end of the season?
No, I don't think he'll want to take it before the end of the season.
Right.
That's a hiding to nothing for him, if not for Chelsea. But Chelsea have still got a lot of games to play, and it's difficult to see them not getting beaten in all of the remaining matches at the moment.
So Frank Lampard's been in charge for 5 so far, and how many of those have they lost?
Lost them all. They've scored 1 goal in the last 7 matches. That was deflected. It really is atrocious.
It's not if Everton start scoring goals, which I know is a little bit of a stretch, but Calvert-Lewin is back. It's not inconceivable that Chelsea could end the season as the lowest scoring team in the Premier League, which, given their season and given the transfer windows, would be extraordinary. And perhaps prove that you do need a striker in football.
It's funny, though, the times when I watched Chelsea, and there was a 15-minute vignette that we had while we were waiting for the second half of the game at the Etihad to get back underway. When we watched the action at Stamford Bridge, and it was chance after chance from Chelsea, they seemed to be a functioning football team, creating opportunities.
A lot of players had shots from 25 yards, and Thiago Silva passed one back to David Raya, but nothing that you'd call a genuine chance. And very much the sense of Brentford saying, let's just let the youngsters punch themselves out, and then if and when we need to, we'll score a goal. And remarkable, just drizzle, basically, from Chelsea. There are talented footballers there, but Enzo Fernandez is just not offered anything really yet, and it can't be easy for him to come into this team. And the hope would be that a fellow Argentine with an excellent coaching pedigree will be able to make him the player that Chelsea spent £105 million on. But it's got to be pretty traumatic for him and for other people who came in January, like Mudryk, who comes on at half time and looks all right, but totally shorn of confidence. Madueke, same thing, and it's all just pretty miserable, and they're not going to have Mason Mount and Reece James for the rest of the season, are they?
Right. I mean, this season seems to be a bit of a write-off. Is there anything particular they've got left to play for?
Oh no!
I mean,
not finishing the season as the lowest ranked club in London.
There's
that. Seven of the 20 Premier League teams are London sides, and if you're a time traveller, I wouldn't recommend wasting your time travel ability to do this. But go back to the start of the season and say Chelsea going to finish as the worst London club of the 7.
Well,
you've been laughed out of your time machine.
They're going to struggle. You know, they've got
back into your time machine. You've just got out of your time machine.
Yeah, but then you come back again to beat up the people that were laughing.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So they go to Arsenal Tuesday, Bournemouth away. Don't know which Bournemouth you're going to get. Forest at home, maybe. Last 3 games: Man City away, Man United away, Newcastle at home. So,
Tom, you were making this point. They've got all the top 4 in their last 6 games,
and they basically junked the rest of the season when they appointed Frank Lampard. Nothing in Frank Lampard's, admittedly, still quite short managerial career has suggested that he is capable of coaching at the very highest level. If they had appointed someone else who'd come in with some ideas and been, a new broom, then they might have been able to find some kind of momentum, give more minutes to some of the new signings. I mean, you can't fit all of them into the team
players,
because
right?
there are so many of them. But some of the younger players, what is the point of Frank Lampard coming in if he's not going to try and do something positive with the team? I mean, the box midfield of Fernandes, Kovacic, Conte, and Conor Gallagher. I mean, against Real Madrid, it made some sense. In a home game against the Brentford team, who haven't won for 6 matches, it makes no sense whatsoever. And so, one of the reasons why clubs sack their managers is to try and it's a shortcut to bring about kind of quick cultural change, but in making the appointment they've made, they've just allowed the kind of bad vibes from everything else that's happened this season to just drag on right to the end of the campaign.
And brought in other people's bad vibes as well. Brought in some of Everton's. I mean, Lampard, I've said it before, but Lampard will go down in history as the only manager to ever lose a Premier League game to Nathan Jones, and they've brought that in.
That's what they brought in. Matt, I was walking down a beach in South Carolina the other day listening to you do an extended breakdown of Chelsea's structural woes in terms of their squad. But if you do get Mauricio Pochettino in, how good a match is that in terms of squad and man in charge? How much surgery would need to be done beyond the centre forward getting brought in?
Well, the surgery is about removing things rather than enhancing, and I think that he would be pretty ruthless with that. But there's the bones of a good squad there for Chelsea. I don't doubt that. I think there's players that Pochettino could get a lot more out of, and Mudryk could definitely be one of those, and Mason Mount, if he can persuade him to stick around, would be another. They've still got N'Golo Kante. They've still got Wesley Fofana's been pretty good this season. Chelsea's defensive record is actually not bad. So there's definitely a base for him to work from, but he, I'm sure, will demand the autonomy that is needed. And as I say, he's in a bargaining position now where he can definitely get that. The problem that they're going to have is getting rid of the players that they need to get rid of to get the squad down to a manageable size and try and get some FFP compliance. So it might be a case of a fire sale, or it might be a case of resurrecting the out on loan page on the website, which has been dormant for a couple of years.
How big is their squad at present?
Oh, it's 30 plus, which is
big.
Too many.
Yeah. Hello there. If you've enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to this channel? The Totally Football Show podcast is available 3 times a week, bringing you all the football news you could reasonably be expected to care about. We've got views, we've got stats, we've got analysis, we've got some of the best football writers around, and the whole thing is absolutely free. So have a listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all the usual places by clicking on the link below.